I decided to change the structure of my HTML and the way all my div tags and everything are arranged inside the document. This was my original, the way I originally did it, and if you notice I had a lot of, in here I have all these divs that are just kind of like floating. If you just think about it this way, like this whole outer border um, of the page over here would be like the browser Chrome. What I mean by browser Chrome is this line over here is the browser Chrome that I'm referring to, and everything was just kind of sitting here free floating. You notice this div just sits here and it just go right to the browser Chrome, so if I ever line this left or right, it'd just be completely aligned. Now probably the first thing that I did different is I took it from this style to, you notice how we have a few things up until from div 1 all the way till navbar. These are just four elements in a row, just free floating. What I did is in my redesign I put a container, a big container around everything except for style div 1 and style div 2 and 3. Now the reason I did this is, well, these style div 1 through 3, they're just going to act as extra divs that are going to be in there just in case I want to add some elements that, like something that I don't foresee now. I'm just going to add one at the top and one at the bottom just in case I decide to do something fancy with some kind of layout or I want to put an element somewhere. But I put a bigger container over everything like this because I said, with this style over here, for example, say I wanted to take the whole page, like this whole page over here, and align it to the left or to the right or dead center. Well, it would be a lot more difficult to do that if I had to apply those properties to each one of these tags, and it could cause some errors. So I figure if I just encapsulate everything in a bigger container, it's just, if I align that container, if I put like an auto margin to the left on that container, it's going to align the way I want it with just one piece of code and not a bunch. So that was something that I put in, just forward thinking. The other thing is, let's see, I changed, I believe before I had, what is this? It was category title. I'm not sure. Oh, this is what I was thinking rather. This category title, that was going to be like layout. This would be the category title that I'm referring to. Because I have, so if you look at title and subtitle, this would be the title, this is the subtitle, and this is the category title. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this because this is going to be different for each one of my weeks, right? I have, and actually I even changed that when I started designing it because I'm not going to name it week 1 or week 2, week 3. I mean, this is how it's going to be for this particular class, but if I ever decide to change it, then just that naming, I didn't like the naming, so I wanted to just take layout, typography, and imagery and Dreamweaver integration. I just wanted to do that. Um, just the titles themselves. Uh, but I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I don't know if I'm going to keep this, but if I do keep it, I'm going to have to make a class for each particular topic because each one's going to have a different image. See, because what I'm thinking is, there's a technique that you could do to, you could just replace, instead of showing the category title, I could just hide it and put an image over it. So if I wanted to put a graphic instead of a text. So that's the other thing. Another thing that I changed is the naming. I put this article title before it was article header. It's little thing, and I just figured I just wanted to change it. Why not? I thought it was more appropriate for what was going to be there. And I also put in I put article in. I put a new div called related links, and because I figure that each one will probably have, down here will have some kind of related links. And what I could do is, just for example, my related links part would be something like, I could really crunch them up a little bit. Let's do it this way. I figure that what I would do for related links is maybe put them down here like this, and change their color to something a little more, like lighter or something. And here's kind of my thought process in this was that it'd give me something a little lighter. Yeah. Well, let's see. But I think you get it. I'm trying to change the color on this thing, and There we go. So this is, I was kind of, I think I'd figured that the related links would be over here, and kind of squished in a little bit. I think that's about it. I also kept main content and article info inside of this article container. I thought two separate things, right? Main content has the title, the first paragraph, the content and related links, and article info is kind of like metadata about the article. That's where I was going to put stuff like the day I wrote it and who the author was is going to be me and the copyright notice. And you'll also notice that I had this div 1 and 2 down here. And this is all in an attempt to get the page to look like this, or something like this. I'm starting to really not like this big yellow circle I got here. And ultimately, this is going to transform into something like this, with, you notice the nav bar here, that's up top, is going to come into here, and I'll float it left or position it absolutely to the left. And, well, that's actually not going to work. Because if I position, well, okay, that's another battle. See, I just already started thinking I'm going to have to float navbar to get this effect, because it's going to, that way if I float navbar to the left, its top is going to go right underneath category title, and then it's going to go down this way as opposed to absolutely positioning it, because absolute positioning, what's going to happen is going to position it relative to the container, and if I absolutely position it, it's going to go up here, right? And then I'm going to have to add like some kind of margin to it that goes down here, and if the page title changes, or I don't want to do that. I think the float would be the better way, because the float's always going to account for the top 3 divs. Okay, now again, this is all. I haven't actually tested this. I did go into Dreamweaver and set up my page to make sure that all my my divs were the way I wanted them to be, like so. Let's see. I mean, I'm thinking now that this is going to work fine. Hopefully I won't have to change it too much, but I know I'm working from one of my article pages out, so meaning that I'm going to work on an article that I did on normal flow, and then just see how it works with all the elements, and then I'll really have a template to start designing the entire site.